Well, 4 practices into the 2015 season, the energy level is high, as you can imagine. People have been really waiting for that February 1st date to come. So the energy and the pace has been off the charts. Our focus now is taking that energy and channeling it into a controlled pace, tempo, but the spirits and energy is so high, which is how you want it to be. Now we just need to put it together with poise and taking care of the ball and things like that. So lots to work on, but we're optimistic about the talent and the depth that we're seeing out of every player.
I think they look pretty fit, and and they have really good work ethic. So they're working really hard. So I'm really happy with. I mean, it's only been 4 days, but 4 practices. So for 4 days, I'm pretty happy with where we've progressed from the fall till now.
Well, we're only a couple days in so far, but my girls definitely came back in really good shape this year. They did excellent in their fitness testing. They seem to have a great chemistry on the field and are just working incredibly hard so far.
Sure. Well, we've had about 4 or 5 practices now in preseason, and I think the team looks pretty good. They've obviously worked pretty hard in the off season, which I've been very happy with so far. And despite the very cold temperatures this week, we've had a productive week of practice, and I think the girls have really come with a lot of enthusiasm, which certainly makes my job a lot easier. So. We've had a couple of injuries and sicknesses even in this first week, but to be honest, I've been pretty happy with how some of the underclassmen have stepped up and kind of filled the roles of some of the older players who have been out. So, overall, it's been a pretty good first week.
I'm really impressed with how they came out to start the season. The energy has been great. The fitness level is good. The newcomers are fitting right in, so I'm really excited with the start of the season.
So far, the team came in excellent shape. They're very motivated, very passionate about lacrosse, and they have tremendous chemistry, so it's very exciting to be out there with them again.
All right, well, it's only been 3 days, but what I can tell you is that we're definitely mentally stronger than the fall and last year with the cold and 20 mile an hour winds that we've been battling so far, but they're doing great. They're working 110% with no complaints.
I think we look really good. We're having a lot of fun. We have a really energetic, motivated group of women this year. They are working hard in the nice cold February weather that we're having, but I think this unit that we have this year, they are together, they are motivated to have fun, they're motivated to get better every day, and really to put together a really great, successful season.
Our team has come out with a lot of energy. Obviously, we're only about a couple days in, almost a week in, but from the get-go, starting from the top with our senior, Katie Dawson, all the way down to our first-year class, every practice they've matched the intensity from the day before, and at this point in the season, that's really all you can ask for.
Well, we're 4 practices in, and things look great so far. There's a lot of energy. They're working hard, great attitude. So that's really all a coach can ask. At this point, we feel pretty good about where we are.
Sure, our top returners, Steph Umbach will be a top scorer for us, along with Casey Armstrong, her speed and scoring ability, and we'll also look to Kaylee Thies on the attack. In the midfield, Steph Umbach will also play multiple roles for us and be a tenacious defender. We'll also look to Nora Fisher in our midfield, and in our defensive end, our senior Christina Vittorio, along with junior Amanda Orlock, Allison Murnick, and Rachel Pedersen will be keys in our defense. And in goal, Kirsten Mulvey and Sarah Allison will be battling it out. So we have some nice depth, and I think we'll be ready to go.
Starting on defense, Liz Godorov is returning as our senior defender. She's the anchor of our defense, and alongside of her we have Anna and Sarah, who was injured for most of the season last year, but she looks really great coming out in the preseason. In the midfield, obviously, we have Emily Hughley, who is, first team All-American, just an incredible player. And all the players on the field just, look to her and watch her every day. And then the attack, we have seniors, Caroline Lovett. We have junior Carly Kendall, who's, really good basketball player, so we haven't had her this preseason yet. We have Allie Dudley and also Kat Vincent, who, she's got great height in there. She gets in on the draw. She's very dynamic on the field. So we're pretty excited. We've got a solid group that's coming back.
Well, something that on paper from last year looking into this year that probably all the outsiders will assume or know already that we're definitely strong on attack. We are returning 2 all-conference players, Danielle Introt and Julie Jacobs. Leading our midfield and defense this year is senior Bridget Bopes and senior Lily Galzrano in cage for us.
I think starting with our midfield, we're really excited about what we return in the midfield. Kitty Dawson, Mary Delberti, and Bryn Dietzel. They've been in that position for quite some time, and I think this is a year where we're going to really start to see them step up and just attack everything a little bit more confidently on both ends of the field. Attacking-wise, I think we're going to, again, see some new faces in the mix. We return Emma Ebert, who had a breakout year as a freshman last year. Amy Kohout has really shaken it up and done some really nice things. And I think overall, I think you're going to see a more well-balanced attacking unit this year, which we're pretty pumped about. Defensively, Lisa Grouse, a sophomore for us, really has turned the corner. I think the light bulb went on for her this summer sometime, and she came back, and she's doing a great job leading that unit. And again, that's another young unit, so we're really pleased to see the progress that she's made.
Okay. So we are bringing back 3 out of our 5 top goal producers, so that's always exciting. But as any team transitions into the next year, there are many players waiting to fill those roles, and we have the depth to do so. So from the offensive end of the field, while we graduated some key performers, the juniors and rising sophomores and even some promising freshmen, I believe, are going to fill those roles quite nicely. We're going to complement the things that we did last year offensively and build off of those point producers, but I think we're going to be able to have a lot of new looks on the offensive side of the ball because of the new personnel coming in. So we're bringing back Bridget Kenny, Mandy Buell, Maggie Connolly, who produced a lot of points and goals for us, but we're also seeing great promise and consistent performance from an Abby Bagelman, and some juniors and seniors in Liz Cocciola, Sam Alio, Emily Scullin, Emma Christie, and then a couple great freshmen that might be making some noise early on. We're excited about. The defensive end of the ball, we actually return a pretty solid nucleus there as well. Emily Tropsa, who just did a great job on the interview, is also one of our leaders on defense and in the midfield. Joining her in the midfield will be Caroline Jager, who is a up-and-coming sophomore, and our defensive unit with a returning goalkeeper will allow that defense to really be more aggressive because they have a goalkeeper with a good solid year under her belt. So joining Tropsa on D will be Chelsea Reed, Tina Wright, Gretchen Bemke, and Macaulay Mikes, and these are real solid defenders that also possess a great deal of speed.
We have a lot of returners. Our entire starting lineup has returned, which we're really fortunate in that. Just in experience on the field. You know, we have Carly O'Brien returning on the attacking end, along with her, another all-region performer, Caroline Clancy, in the midfield. In addition to her, another all-region, all-conference defender in Maura Mahoney. And then our goalkeeper position, again, is pretty solid. We have JoJo Auerbach and Tara Cudahy, who split time last year, and we anticipate the same thing happening again this year.
Well, we lost key members of the team from last year in all positions, so that's tough. But we have 5 seniors this year, only 2 of whom were here last year on the team. So having 5 seniors, and they're in a variety of positions, is really going to be great for the leadership on our team. Sam Reichart and Elizabeth Bachman are the 2 that are returning from last year. Sam is a defender, and Ebach, as we call her, is an attacker. So that's great. Returning from one from being abroad, another from research, is Sarah Lantricchia and Elise Tierney, who both bring a great deal of experience to the midfield, and Olivia Perez as well. So our senior group is going to be great as far as leadership. In addition, we have a bunch of juniors who got a lot of experience last year as softs, and in a variety of positions. We have Antonia Violante on defense. We have Lizzie Cohen on offense. We have a variety of other juniors that are going to bring a lot of experience, including Tasman. She also brings some experience on defense as well. Connie Bowen in the goal cage as our junior. She's also got a lot of experience last year. She split a lot of time with our senior last year, Michelle Ammerman, so she's coming in with a lot of experience as well. We have a soft, Brianna Narzical, had a great year last year as a first year, so she's coming back in the midfield. And then we're really excited about our first year class. It's a big class, it's an experienced class. There are a variety of positions, and I think quite a few of them are going to push for some playing time this year. So overall, we have a good balance in all positions, etc.
Okay. I think, for our the key returners for offense this year on the attacking side is going to be Brittany Jorgensen and Grace Saliba. They're very good attackers who, along with Gabby Frank and Kim Abruzzo, have played in big games. 2 of them are seniors, a junior and a sophomore, so they've all played in the championship games, and so they have a lot of leadership under their belt and a lot of points. We had to replace a couple starters from the attacking unit, so they've really stepped up this fall and beginning of spring. And in the midfield, we're really hoping that with 2 conference returners, all conference performers, Annie Mergner and Emily Everdale back, that will stabilize the midfield for us, along with 3 senior midfielders who have really grown throughout their 4 years here, Emily Durasmo, Meg Kelly, and Casey Madden. So with those 4 seniors and the returning junior all-conference player, I think a midfield will be a strength for us this year. And so then looking at the defensive side of the ball, I think that's where we have the most consistency. We have 2 juniors who have played and started in every game they've played in their career here, Sam Blick and Caroline Duran. And then you add 2 sophomores, Sarah Bazo and Vanessa Budd, who have both, Sarah started every game last year as a freshman and was all conference, all region, and Vanessa Budd played in every game. So we have a lot of continuity on that side of the field, and we're going to need it with the departure of a first-team All-American goalie.
Well, I'll start from the back. We have Katie Albert, who is our returning goalkeeper. She's now a sophomore with a whole freshman year under her belt. I think we've really worked on her leadership role in the back there, kind of being able to rely on her more as a leader and as kind of the leader of the defense in her position. She's definitely improved in her skills, but also I'm excited just the fact that we still have 3 more years with her. But she's ready to go, and she just is a lot of fun. So we're excited kind of starting back there with a goalie who's motivated and ready to go and lead. Defensively, moving forward from there, we have 2 seniors that are going to be kind of anchoring our defensive unit of Tanya Hamid and Grace Bailey-King. And the 2 of them have a lot of experience. They communicate well and are really great leaders on and off the field that will be able to anchor the defense. Midfield-wise, our strongest returning midfielder, or 2 of them, Claire Johnson and Georgina Dominique, are really going to fulfill a big role for us this year. Claire is one of our captains this year, has returned to Bryn Mawr this semester from spending the fall abroad. So we're excited to see her leadership on the field and how she's really grown and developed while she was in Scotland. So the other thing with the two of them, we're kind of moving into the attacking end, having lost our leading scorer to graduation in Kat Magner. Really Claire and Georgina and all of the rest of our attackers are going to need to fill that scoring void that was left with Kat's graduation. But I really feel like our attack is going to be much more balanced, much more confident across the board with the 7 attackers there on that end. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how everything comes together and being able to get a lot out of every single player and not have to rely on 1 or 2 all-stars to fill the burden.
Sure. Offensively, we have a couple of players who are back. Hannah Morgan and Dana Kim are 2 of our seniors who contributed last year, and I expect them to do the same this year. They're in the offensive end. They bring Dana Breen brings a lot of energy and quickness, and Hannah's a very sneaky player. So they work really well together in that offensive end. In the midfield, we have Diana Perry back as a senior this year, who certainly was a leader and a top goal scorer for us last year, and she plays both ends, offensively and defensively. She takes the draw, so she really does do it all for us. And also Serena Mineta is a sophomore who started every game last year and was really a great overall well-rounded player on the field. Again, she did it all: ground balls, draws, and goals. So happy to have her back again for this season. So defensively, we also have a couple of seniors that have come back this year. Bree Robbins and Nicole Sockett are two seniors who really anchor our defense. They've been starters, for the past 3 years, and expect them to start as well this year. So, they bring a lot of knowledge back there and a lot of direction to our younger players. To be honest, I think all of our newcomers have done really well so far this preseason. I've even seen a lot of improvement in them just from the fall to the spring now, from our fall ball season to this past week. So really excited for them to contribute. This year we have goalie all the way up to our offensive end, really, a couple freshmen in every position. So, they bring a lot of, they actually bring a lot of speed and athleticism to our team, which I'm pretty excited about. And I think more than anything, they really just give us that extra depth that we haven't had in the past few years. Really expect to play a lot of players this year because we do have that talent, starters all the way through our bench. So
we have 7 new players joining the Terror Squad this year. They bring physical strength and a little bit of height for us this year.
Yeah, they're all doing great. I wouldn't pick one out of the bunch. They're all really solid and they're all doing well. And like I said, they're in lots of different positions. We have defenders, we have midfielders, we have attackers. At this point, it's hard to tell with only 4 practices, but I think they're really going to push the upperclassmen, and a few of them might see a lot of playing time. But at this point, it's hard to tell.
We have a couple of freshmen who I think are going to definitely be role players for us. Autumn Spence and Rachel Shaw kind of stand out in that group as our freshmen who are doing a great job. They have great size. They're just tough. They're very receptive to everything that we're telling them, and they're buying into our team concept. So excited about those 2 joining us on the field.
I think it's still early. I think all of our freshmen have been doing a really great job. We have a couple women who have also joined the team who aren't necessarily new to Bryn Mawr Athletics but are new to Lacrosse. So they've been working hard and doing a lot of really good things. We have a couple women who have transferred to Bryn Mawr and are joining the team. So I would say every newcomer on our roster has impressed me in some way. We have another goalkeeper, we have some new attackers, but everybody's working really hard and doing a lot of things. So it's hard to pinpoint just one, but all of them are doing a really great job.
Yeah, I mean, I've been impressed with all of them. We have 8 first-year players joining us this year. Defensively, Julia Primo from Maine has really impressed us fitness-wise, strength. She's understanding concepts quickly and really making herself a presence on the defensive end. Alex Gramacki is another freshman who we expect to be an impact player for us. Again, came in great shape and just picking things up quickly and fitting right in.
Preseason. Newcomers have done a great job. They're a fun class, a lot of personality. I think the names that stick out in my mind right now are on the defensive end of the ball. They've really stepped up. Alex Montez is a 2-sport athlete. She played hockey in the fall, and it's really exciting to see how she's jumped right into the mix. Alicia Hildebrand gets stronger and stronger on the defensive side. And Franny Liberato, who's a nice little spark plug back there for us. So we've got a lot of young faces back there, but they're eager to learn. They're hungry. And then offensively, we're still figuring that out. We have Julia Fleming, who's come in. She's got great height. Taylor DiBernardi is a great finisher. So just exciting to see the new faces jump in right away with some confidence.
Yeah, we have 7 freshmen this year, and they've really come in and pushed the upperclassmen and the sophomores since fall. And I think looking at the all 7 of them, they're all going to contribute. But I think Danielle Harrington, Paige Moriarty, Hannah Serling, and Katie Grunke could see significant time throughout the year, and the other 3 as well. So looking forward to what the freshmen bring to the team.
Newcomers to our program, one in particular came in tremendous shape and a great attitude, wonderful work ethic. That's Nicole Devoretsky, so we'll look to her to make things happen. And another newcomer that is just a natural on the lacrosse field and a tenacious player is Jordy Bonvini, so we'll be looking to her too.
The newcomers are bringing a great deal of energy and depth. We're very excited about all of them, actually, but we feel that there's a couple that might make some noise early on both ends of the field. We've been impressed with Cassie Smith down on the defensive end, and in particular Maggie Welsh on the offensive end. But it's very early. We're only 4 days in, and I think when each player gets a little bit more comfortable and learns the tendencies of their brand new teammates in a much different element than fall ball, I think we're going to see some people really begin to shine once they get more comfortable.
I think the conference is going to be as competitive as ever. Last year it was a dogfight to the very end. I think it's no longer a 1-horse or a 2-horse race, which is exciting, and I think it's a great thing for the Centennial Conference. I think that you have to show up for every game more so than ever, regardless of what that team has done up until that point. We saw last year that on any given day, anybody can win. So who's to say, who's going to come out on top? I'm not really sure, but I know that it's competitive, and we're excited for the challenge.
I mean, it's the Centennial. It's a dogfight every year. I love participating in this conference because every game matters, and everyone is preparing their best for a Centennial game. So I'm sure it's going to be a dogfight just like every other year. I expect it to be.
Well, the conference is going to be real competitive, as always. It always is. We have quite a few already, 3 in the top 20 right now ranked, and we probably could have a heck of a lot more. So I think it's really going to be a down to the wire. We hope to be in the mix at the end. I think that, the top 2, Gettysburg and F&M, have always been, the strong 2 in our conference. But, I think there's going to be some teams pushing them this year. And I think we're going to be competitive. And I hope to be in the mix at the end, get into that playoff position, and then anything can happen.
I mean, I think the conference this year is going to be really competitive. I think it's a really exciting conference to play in for our team. And, any given game, you never know what the outcome's going to be. So expect a lot of competition, definitely some fierce rivalries, and, we're looking forward to the challenge.
If the fall sports are any indication, and and perhaps what's happening this winter, you can see the parity that exists more and more every year within the conference. Wouldn't it be great, like in the fall, to have 3 teams nationally ranked within our conference? And we're already seeing that in women's lacrosse. So, I think it's going to be a dogfight every game, and I think everyone should be preparing to win a national championship and give it their all when they step out on the field. And that's what Gettysburg plans to do, and I know all my colleagues are training their teams to do just the same.
It's an honor to be a part of the Centennial Conference. It's excellent competition. For us, we need to play every game fit physically and mentally. Every game for us is big. So I think the month of April will be really exciting to watch all the Centennial games. There'll be all good battles and close calls. And I think it will come down to the last week or two of the season for sure to see who's going to be in that top 5, which we'll also be battling for.
That's always a tough question. I love this conference. That's why I returned back last year after being out Midwest for a couple years. And it's good to see 3 teams in the top 20 preseason poll this year from the Centennial. That's exciting. And I think there's going to be 3 other teams that give, even those 3 teams a run for that top spot.
I think the conference, if I looked at the conference, how it was going to shape up this season, the conference is getting better every year. We saw a big jump last year. From top to bottom, I think it's one of the best conferences in the country. Gettysburg is always at the top. Washington's really getting a push up there. But then you have McDaniel, Muhlenberg, and Dickinson all pushing to be in the conference playoffs. So I really think it's anybody's game this year. It's it's going to be interesting to see how the conference plays out.
It's always an exciting conference to play in. I like to say that it's the best in Division III, and to see 3 teams already ranked in the top 20 is no surprise to me, because I see them. I see how they work. I see how their coaches are recruiting. But on the other hand, the other 7 of us are right there working just as hard. So I think it's going to be a battle. I would love to see some things shake up, but I don't know if that's going to be the case with those strong top 3 teams.
Our conference is a tough conference to play in. Every game is definitely a battle. Dickinson, we lost to them last year. They're great. Effingham and Gettysburg are just. Every single game is very competitive. McDaniel too. It's just every game is definitely a tough one. So we got to prepare the best for each and every game.
No, we're just really excited to get going. We've got a few early games this year. We have a couple scrimmages, and so we'll get tested early, which is nice. Kind of see where we stand. We start off with a real competitive non-conference schedule, and then, of course, into the conference schedule, which will be really challenging. We're heading to Clearwater, Florida for spring break. We're playing Lynchburg and University of Rochester down there, and that'll be very competitive. So we're really excited about the schedule. We think it's a good one for us, and we're excited so far with everything that we've seen. The coaches are really excited, and players are doing a great job so far. So looking forward to a great season. Hope the weather cooperates.
Wish everybody a happy and healthy season, and best of luck to everyone, and see how far the Centennial can get this year.
We're just excited to get everyone back together and playing out there. It's tough to not have 3 players during basketball season right now. I'm just excited to get the team back together. I know it'll be late in the season. They don't finish their season until the 21st, but just excited to get them all together finally and start with our games and move forward. But this is definitely a unique group. The best chemistry I've felt coaching, so we're excited to see how things go.
I love this time of season, except for maybe the weather. The team has great energy, they're passionate, they're focused and motivated, so we're just really enjoying every minute that we can be back together out on the field, so it's a great time for us.
I'm just looking forward to continuing the momentum we built last year. We're coming off one of our most successful seasons in recent history, most wins since 2010. we returned a lot and we gained a lot with our newcomers. So there's no reason why we can't be competing for a championship this year. We've really intensified our out-of-conference schedule to help prepare us for those in-conference games. So I'm just really excited to get out there and start playing.
I think what I'd like to share about the upcoming season would be just that, I'm real excited for the season. I'm sure every coach has said the same thing. But, just working with the 31 girls we have on the team, they come out ready to play every day, no matter how cold it is or what type of weather we have. So they come to play every day. So they're ready, anxious to get started, and it's going to be here in no time. So I'm really looking forward to the upcoming season.
We're excited to get started, and a couple more weeks here before our first scrimmage and games. So we still have a lot of work to do, obviously, but looking forward to the season, and good luck to everyone else.
This year is a fun year. It's year 4 for me at Ursinus. And Kitty Dawson, who's our lone senior, was a freshman when I came in, and I think we're finally at a point where we're feeling comfortable with each other, feeling like Ursinus is my home, feeling like this group is our group finally, not like we're living in somebody else's house. So it's been fun building, and the challenges each and every year. But this year, I would say, is the first year where we really feel like we're in this together. We're finally feeling like we're going to start paving our own way, which is something that we're really excited about.
Now we're just really excited to get, in 2 weeks we're going to be playing an opponent, so I can't wait to see them in action, and best of luck to the other Centennial teams.
I usually listen to In the Air Tonight. It's a Phil Collins song. Ray Lewis and the Ravens used to listen to it pregame. So.
I'm not very superstitious. I do always want the coaching staff to match. So maybe that is superstitious or a ritual, I don't know. But we do have to match pretty much from top to bottom. Sneakers, we already have our game day shoes.
I don't personally, but my team, we take turns each game preparing like a pregame pump up in the locker room before we go out, and it's really great. It gets us all ready to go for the game.
Our coaching staff actually, historically, we've picked a song of the season, and we won't enter the locker room until we've heard that song. So there's been times where we've gotten into the locker room late, and I'm sure our team is wondering where the heck we are, but if we forgot to play the song, we have to take that extra time to make sure that we hear it from start to finish.
I have a lot of superstitions. Coaches have no control, but we pretend we do. I always enter and exit out the same door. So, and this occurs at practice, because if that happens, then I will feel that if someone gets hurt, it's my fault. So I always use the same door that I go out and in every time. I'm also a big believer about signs. If there's an orange and blue sign, a sky, it's meant to be. It's going to be our day. So everything is a sign, and I go looking for them if I don't find them. I'm a big superstitious person.
I think since high school, I've done one thing. I put pre-wrap, all on both my knees, and I wear it before every single game, and sometimes practice, but it has to happen before every single game. And I twirl my stick before a game starts, and I do a handshake with one of my teammates.
Usually get Starbucks before a game, a venti iced red eye, regardless if it's hot or cold, and that's pretty much it. There's usually food involved, and then I think that there are some just pre-game kind of rituals that you develop with a player, or I'm usually warming up the goalies, so what they kind of want, or what are their routines or what are their rituals. So I just kind of go along with that. But there's usually a Starbucks in my hand before a game.
I get a iced green tea with my teammate Maggie Connolly before every single game. And I also wear the same sports bra, spandex, socks for every game.
I like to get some Dunkin' Donuts coffee. That always helps set the mood. And then I just like to write my pregame plan and speech with a specific pencil in a specific spot in the locker room.
I do have designated game socks. I wash them, but they're socks that I wear for every game. And then we also do a dance party in the locker room just to get rid of the nerves and just get us excited for the game. So we always do that too.
The team just gathers together. We gather together in the team room before every game, and we have pick different players to speak before each game. That that's kind of a unique thing that we do. But no, I don't really have any rituals.
Before every game, I actually shower.
Pre-game ritual for me, I like to, when we're home, I like to be in my office and watch my team walk out and overlook and just take in the moment and remember how great it is on game day. Game day is our favorite day, so we try to take a moment, kind of step back, and take it all in before we go into the heat of the battle.
I usually just like listening to music in the locker room with my teammates, but also we've made a habit of writing down individual goals that we all have before each game, which really helps come game time.
I always eat a banana before a game. I usually wear 2 pairs of socks before a game, and I always listen to music going down to the field or on the bus.
I'd say that pre-game rituals for our team, everyone gets together and does game day hair, so we sit around and braid each other's hair, the funky, cool setups, and the eye black is definitely a big one for me. I think it's very intimidating, and I think it just looks cool.
I guess the closest thing to a ritual would be to just taking a few minutes to myself before every game in the locker room, just to sort of calm myself down because I get really excited before all of the games. So that would be my ritual for a game.
One thing, I shower before every game. So my teammates always make fun of me for that. And then another one, my teammate and I always cross our sticks on the sidelines, our backup sticks.
Looking at our schedule this year, I'd say our toughest road game will definitely be against WAC or Washington College. They had a great season last year, and I think that we can definitely bring it this year, and it'll be a tough game for both of us.
Conference road game for us, I guess I would have to follow up with Steph Umbach and say probably last year for us it was McDaniel. The length of the drive and the unpredictability of it was tough for us. Really, it really depends, it's a weekend or during the week or what other time of year it is, if the students have midterms. Those other factors that go into play usually contribute into the toughness of a road game. So it kind of depends, but for us last year, it definitely was McDaniel.
I hate to say it, but I think traveling back to Gettysburg might be toughest. Personally, for me, obviously, it being my alma mater, seeing all those familiar faces, I enjoy it. I get excited for it. But I think it's a tough place to play. Certainly, our team gets up for that game every year. But I think on the road, playing at G-Burg is a challenge.
I don't have a particular school in mind, but when later weekday games are hard away. Off site, getting on the bus at, it's a 6 to 7 o'clock start, midweek in this conference, our kids are highly academic, so it's tough to get them to play in the moment, and they perform, but sometimes we have more success at home in those weekday games.
I don't think we see any road game tougher than the next. We kind of just go into every game. It's like another home game. Same dimensions of the field, goal, same number of players on the field. It's just another game.
I think F&M is probably the toughest road game we play. They always bring their A game when we play them, and every ball that we get, we fight for it every time, so it's always a good game.
I would say in my past 3 years here, Washington College has always been a huge game. It's come down to the wire, and it's when we have to travel there, it's far away. So it takes a lot to pump ourselves up in a 3-hour car ride, but it always is a very competitive game, so that's a challenging one.
We prepare all our games the same way. We're focusing on our game plan. We're focusing on what we need to do based on the preparation that we have had for that upcoming opponent. So we don't let the environment impact. We don't have control over that. What we have control over is our preparation, our preparedness of matchups, our game plan of the offense and defense we're going to use based on the opponent that we're playing. The environment shouldn't factor into our decision, much like we can't control the weather, we can't control where the game is played. So we don't let that be our focus. We just focus on preparing.
This year it's probably Washington College.
Well, the toughest one usually is, it's either going to, be one of the away games. It's hard to go to Gettysburg. It's hard to go to Dickinson. Those are tough games because of the bus ride. We always play McDaniel, it seems, during the week, which is a tough one. And for some reason, that's usually early. So those are the toughest ones, I think, on the road, mostly just because of their distance and obviously because they're, competitive. But they're all competitive. But those would be the ones I would say.
I would have to say Washington College. It always comes on a Wednesday night. We're all tired after a long day of practice. It's like a 2-hour drive. Just going from a long day of classes to a really big drive and then getting off and having to play a game is always really tough on us. And then Washington College is always really good, so it's just a really tough game all around.
I would say Dickinson is always the biggest struggle for us. We go back and forth every year, so they just are really we just always have very competitive games with them. So it's a tough one.
I'd say Dickinson too. It's our furthest trip. It's a long bus ride, so that's always a factor in playing a big game.
I would have to say McDaniel. Something about that bus ride gets our team every time. Last year we played them twice. One regular season, it was scorching hot out. It was awful. And then we played them a week later in the first round of playoffs, and it was downpouring rain. So I don't know, just something about that bus ride.
I would say for me, probably McDaniel, just because of the sentiment of the game. Since I went there, it just has a different feel to it.
I would have to say either McDaniel or Washington College, just because they're so far.
The conference road game that's the toughest, this year, only looking at this year, is going to be Washington College for sure. So they're in the top 20, and they have a lot of returners. So it's going to be. It was a great game both times we played them last year. So it's going to be a tough road traveling 2 hours there on a Saturday. So looking forward to that challenge.
There's a couple. I mean, like I said, it's a very competitive conference. But I do think Gettysburg is one of our toughest road games. We really have to get in the right mindset, as we do for every game. But I would think that's our toughest road game.
For me personally, I think it is going back to Swarthmore and being, across the sideline from somebody who is my mentor, my friend, and kind of has been there for me personally and professionally, and with Karen. But on the other hand, it's a fun time to kind of go back there and play. We don't play on the same field anymore that we did a long time ago. But every road game is tough. Whether it's during the week or it's on the weekend. But there's not one school I think that's harder or easier to play in.
For me, I think it's such a privilege to play at this level with athletes that are so committed to their sport and their academics, and also I'm playing against and with a lot of my former teammates and competitors, so that's also a lot of fun for me.
I think the competition and the competitiveness in the conference is outstanding. I know that every single game that we play is so unpredictable, and that's what honestly makes playing so much fun. No game is really easy, and I love going into each game just knowing that anything can happen.
I like playing lacrosse in the Centennial Conference because of the competition that the Centennial Conference holds, and that competition pushes our team to be the best that we can be.
I would say the thing I like most is being able to compete at a very high level, but also take advantage of being a student athlete. So we get to participate in so many things at the school and other clubs and groups. But when it's game time, it's the highest competition possible, and everyone's working hard and everyone wants to win.
I like the tradition of within the conference of having very strong athletics, and I think all the teams have good team spirits and are also very supportive of each other and very sportsmanlike.
I'd say the best thing about the Centennial Conference is the parity.
any night or any day, anything could happen, and there's no game that's a guaranteed win, so it's always competitive, which is pretty cool.
I like that every team is pretty much even. It's possible for really anyone to pull ahead in some of the games. We're all, pretty much on the same level, and I enjoy the competition and just showing up to every game not knowing who's going to win.
I think I like the competition that we face every season. We have a pretty tough conference, as you know, 3 in the top 20, I guess, in the nation. So they always give us a game and makes me a better player playing against these really great girls.
Everyone's really talented. It's very competitive. It's a challenge, every game. So I think just the competitiveness is great for us, especially as a D3 school.
I'm going to say my favorite athlete's Shane Victorino. He's on the Red Sox now, but he was a Philly for a long time, and I don't know, he's always working hard. And
my favorite athlete is Cristiano Ronaldo. Plays for Real Madrid.
If I had to pick one, it would probably be Lindsey Vonn.
I would have to say Tim Howard. He really impressed me in the World Cup this summer, and I have a really big respect for goalies. I personally could never get in there and have people shoot at me. So I think he's really great, yeah.
So for a long time before high school, it was definitely Mia Hamm. I followed soccer, I played soccer, but after high school started, I really just sort of, and through college, I've just sort of had a much greater appreciation for sort of all female athletes out there, and any sort of World Cup games or any professional athletes that are out there, female athletes that are out there, I have a great appreciation for how much time and effort that they put into their sport. So I don't necessarily have a favorite one anymore, but I definitely say that I have a huge appreciation for all the time and effort that those women put into their sport.
I can't pinpoint a favorite athlete, but Kitty Dawson, who's our captain this year, she is selfless, she's hardworking, she really knows how to get us all together and pumped up, and that's someone that's really nice to have to look up to and play with every day.
I'd have to say Tori Smith.
I would say Alex Morgan. Not only is she an amazing soccer player, but I think she's one that leads by example and is a big leader on her team. So I think she's a big person I look up to.
I'd have to say Martin St. Louis of the New York Rangers. He works out at the gym that I train at in the summer, so I get to see firsthand his passion for the sport, his dedication to his teammates, and also I think he's a really good example for someone. He's one of the smallest players in the league and one of the oldest and most talented, so I think he's a good example for how if whatever you want to do, if you can do it, if you just believe in yourself.
I would have to say Derek Jeter. I think he is an inspiration to a lot of people. And since I grew up, I've watched him play. And seeing how he's such a leader on the field to his team has motivated me to be a leader for my team. So I think I definitely look up to him as an athlete.
She's very animated when she's showing us drills, so I mean, I'm not going to show it because I might embarrass myself, but she's like very animated, and then she also has this one look that we all know. It's kind of like a raised eyebrow look at us, and I think everyone on our team knows it. So
my coach likes to hashtag a lot, and I mean a lot, including the hashtag. So if we're going on the field, like hashtag get it together, hashtag tie your pants tighter. And she also likes to do the running man a lot, which is pretty entertaining.
Well, actually, one of my favorite sayings that all our coaches use is make a fast mistake, not a slow decision. I think it's something that really captures our whole, just the essence of our team. We want to pedal to the metal, go all out, and just take risks where we need them, and just risk reward.
I wouldn't say that our coach has any mannerisms, but she is very funny and loves to crack wise jokes now and then, but when it gets time to get serious, she's ready to get down to it.
Coach always uses the term accountability and stresses the importance of holding ourselves and our teammates accountable, whether it be on the field or in the classroom, and making sure we're working to our fullest potential and giving everything our all.
For us, a team motto, but definitely Lauren's motto too, is play 60 minutes. You put 110% effort in, and you get 60 minutes of the game, and that's the time that you have to show how much work and effort and you've put into the season.
Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Says it since freshman year. It's stuck in my head.
She always tells us there are always going to be things you can't control in a game or at practice, like the weather, the referees at the game, and she always just tells us, focus on what you can control, like how you play, how you react to the uncontrollables.
He likes the saying, get after it, win the day, and get on the end line.
She loves saying, take it to the hoop, and also, especially before game day, sleep well, dream big is her big quote that she always uses.
I mean, like I said, Gettysburg's always been a very consistent team. They have great players, but there's also a lot of other teams that are gonna be good this year and be tough to beat. So I could say it's up for grabs, really.
This is a hard question to answer because, of course, I think Washington College is going to take it all the way. But if I give it to anyone, I'd say Gettysburg, the defending champs, have the best shot because they got really solid players, full of talent, and their coach is amazing. So besides WAC, I'd say Gettysburg.
Gettysburg and F&M are always a close call. Both teams are very aggressive and competitive when it comes down the field. However, since my sister will be a freshman next year at Gettysburg, we'll have to say Bullets.
Well, if I can't choose my team, I would have to say probably Gettysburg. They've always been really strong, and I think they've won the last however many years I can remember. So, yeah.
In the past years, it's been Gettysburg and F&M that have been up there in the top, but I'd like to see another team come in and give them a run for their money and just show them that the other teams are capable of being number one.
That's a tough question, too. I think that it's going to be a question of who is most mentally tough this year. There's a lot of talent within this conference, so I think that it could be anybody. It just comes down to who thinks that they can do it.
I think Gettysburg will win the conference this year. They're a great group of girls. They always prepared for a great season. So,
like I said before, the Centennial Conference has a lot of competition, so it's really up in the air this year, I feel like, but we've been working really hard this preseason, so I have high hopes for us.
You typically have the favorites of F&M and Gettysburg, but of course, if we don't win it, I do think that Washington College is definitely a good bet for this year's Centennial Conference Championship.
It's a new year, it's a new season, whole new ball game. I think any team has the capability to be a top contender. Right now, especially this week, we're kind of focusing on ourselves, and we're seeing every game as against a contender that's looking for the same goals as us. So anybody can do it. It's just whoever wants to step up to the challenge.